In this section, we're going to be learning about both the surface area and the volume of spheres. The formula for the area of a sphere is 4 times pi times radius squared. So let's look at an example. To find the area of a sphere whose radius is 3 inches, all you need to do is plug in 3 in the place of radius in your formula. So when you do, you have 4 times pi times 3 squared. And when you put that in your calculator, the answer is 113.1 inches squared. In the next example, we're given the area and we're asked to find the radius. So that's a little harder. You always start by plugging in what you know. That's the substitution step. So we know 1,017 and 9/10 is the surface area, and we're solving for the radius. So we're going to divide both sides by 4 pi. Make sure to put parentheses around the 4 pi for order of operations. And when we divide, we end up with approximately 81 equaling r squared. Now this answer is going to be a long decimal, and it's going to be really close to 81. Since we're going to have to take the square root of r squared in order to get r by itself, go ahead and round that number to 81 since it's really close to it, and 81 is a perfect square. And we'll end up with an approximate answer of 9 meters for the radius of this sphere. For volume, we just have a different formula. So instead of 4 pi r squared, we have 4/3 pi r cubed for the volume. So let's look at applying this formula. Here we know that the radius is 6. So we want to find the volume. So all we have to do is put 6 in the place of r and use our calculator. So the volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. We put 6 in the place of r and type all that in our calculator. We end up with the answer of 904 and 8/10 inches cubed. Our last example is the hardest. Here we're given the volume and we're asked to find the radius. So we're going to work with our formula. Volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. We're going to put 114 in the place of volume, since that's what we know, and we're solving for r. So we need to divide by 4/3 pi on both sides, and I'm going to take it in 2 steps to keep it simple. So first I'm going to divide both sides by pi, and when I do, I'm going to round the answer on the left-hand side, which would give me about 36. Then I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 4/3 on both sides to get rid of the 4/3. The reciprocal is 3/4. So 3/4 times 4/3 equals 1 over here on the right-hand side. So that cancels out my fractions and leaves me with r cubed, which is what I want. And on the other side, I'm going to multiply 3/4 times 36 on my calculator. When I do, I end up with approximately 27 equals r cubed. Again, we are trying to get r cubed by itself, so we are hoping to end up with a perfect cube. So if 3/4 times 36 gives me something really close to a perfect cube, we're going to want to go ahead and just round to that perfect cube. So now I can just take the cubed root of both sides, just like with the square root, only it's a cubed root, which means that some number multiplied by itself 3 times has to equal 27. And that number is 3. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So 3 times itself 3 times is 27. And that's